So my name is Lindsey Hedrick, and I did the class in December of 2017. And on the science section, I increased my score by 10 points, and you can absolutely do the same. So I'm going to share with you a couple of different struggles and experiences I had, and hopefully you can learn from those. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what your weaknesses are. Typically, students either get bogged down in the material, get confused and or stressed out, or they spend too much time trying to get the answers correct. And for me, it was kind of a combination of these things. Sometimes I'd take a test and I'd make sure I knew every single question and then I'd run out of time, or I would run through and make sure I got it in the time constraints, but I'd miss things that I knew. So for me, it was all about finding that happy medium. So, as you probably know, there is minimal science knowledge required on the ACT. So to prepare, I would recommend reading and drawing from as many graphs as possible. Usually they're not as complex as they seem. They're made to be intimidating and to confuse you. So there's a lot of info on there that you're never going to use. So really, please don't overthink just drawing an answer straight from a graph. It's usually oh yeah, the answer really was that easy. So another problem that I had to solve was time management. So what I did for that was I started taking several tests without worrying too much about time. I just kind of made sure I knew specifically what the questions was asking for, practiced all kinds of questions, and then I slowly added back in the time constraints. And honestly, don't be afraid to practice timing passage by passage or even question by question if you need to. Next, I know it's cliche, but please learn from your mistakes. You need to fully understand why you missed a question, how you missed it, and everything you could ever need to know so you don't ever miss it again. And lastly, the biggest piece of advice I can give you, and honestly this applies to any section on the ACT, but it'd be to learn how you need to learn. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy for the ACT, and one thing's not going to work for everybody. So I highly encourage you to adapt the resources that you're given to be what you need them to be. You're going to get out what you put into this class, and for me that didn't always mean a ton of time. It meant modifying my learning resources for me, and that might mean focusing on one type of question, working on timing, or even having the mindset of I did it on English, math, and reading, I can do it here too. And at this point in the class, you probably have a good idea of what your learning style is and what you need to do to succeed, so please take advantage of that. And best of luck to you on the science section.